Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Gentleman's Debate, episode 28. It's me, Sam, and I'm here with Simon. Say hello, Simon.
Hi, Simon.
Okay. And say hello, Josh, behind the camera.
Hello, everyone.
Again, we'll just go straight in with... We'll dive deep right into the plug.
Like Mike Phelps.
For Josh Simpson and York Video Pro. Woo! As deep as we possibly can. Very
seeing as he,
deep.
We want him to get into that specific profession.
York Video Production, we get deep.
I wouldn't use that as the tagline.
No, I wouldn't either. Yeah.
That's a chilling.
Have we thought of a tagline for Josh yet?
York Video Production, how deep do you like it?
No, how deep can you go?
How deep is your love?
How deep is your love? Yeah, you could have that theme tune.
Is your love?
But yes, it is the 28th episode.
I really need your spur.
Okay.
How have we made it 28?
28 episodes. Do you know how long we've been doing this for?
How long?
It's like 7-8 months. I think it's 9. We're on the 9th month of doing the podcast.
Nice.
I mean, I joined back in October?
Yeah, I think so. October it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
The video files on my hard drive the other day, and it goes back to October. So
first video we did was the Nikos Fight Night one.
Episode 13,
yeah,
if I recall correctly.
Nikos.
Watch it, guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can go back and watch all of it and listen to all of the previous episodes to maybe figure out what jokes are cracking. Yeah.
Listen to them all, watch them all, back to back. Get the adult nappy on. Just have a Gentleman's Debate marathon.
Now we can also reveal if you're going to do that and binge watch, we'll have to reveal exactly which pizza won the poll.
Yes. Well, we all know. We know.
Shall I give you the results?
Yeah, we know.
So we're going to do Facebook first. The Facebook poll I did, and I'm going to tell you the percentages in 2 seconds once I get the notification up. Bear with me, sorry guys. So, as of what day is it today? Friday.
Friday,
today, the 2nd
at the time of
March.
Recording.
We did basically, for anyone who's just tuning in now, we did which is the best pizza, Pizza Hut or Domino's, and on Facebook, it was 51% Pizza Hut.
Wow, that's closer than I thought it would be.
49% Domino's for anyone who can't do the maths. Yeah, that was a very close one on Facebook. Twitter was slightly different. People on Twitter are a little bit more...
decisive?
Yeah, let's put it that way. Although, again, not as big as I thought it could have been. 58% Pizza Hut, 42% Domino's. So, the winner is...
We know.
Pizza Hut, ladies and gentlemen. And, to be honest, in that debate, we all said... It has to be Pizza Hut.
I would have... No, I would like it to put down to my, my debating skills. I just really rallied the people. But no, it was obvious. Pizza Hut is just by far
I'll be honest,
superior.
I thought that debate was going to last 2 minutes when you first said to Mickey, so why do you think Domino's is the best? And he went, well...
Yeah.
What do you think about the base? It's good.
If I'm honest, it wasn't maybe the strongest debate from the Eastern Death. Hashtag Eastern Death. Maybe we should really start using these hashtags. We need to figure what yours is going to be out. Seriously, Sam. What your nickname is. We covered this in another podcast.
Yeah.
We need to get you... So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're watching and listening to this...
Oh, God.
Please go to our Twitter, at @TGD_podcast, and try and figure out Sam's... nickname for the podcast. I'm Discount Bruce Willis, aka Simon Tolley. Mickey is Eastern Death, although he got a second one, didn't he?
He did get a second one, but I can't remember what it was. Yeah, it wasn't as good as Eastern Death, so it's irrelevant.
Josh, do you have one?
Was Josh's porn stash?
No, Josh's was at York Video Pro. Shameless plug.
Hashtag shameless plug.
But it is porn stash.
He's not got that much of a good tash, if I'm honest. It's not like he has a moustache. So if no one's seen no one's seen Josh because he's always behind the camera. So no one really knows what he looks like. So are you taking a photo of yourself?
Yes.
So you can slot it in?
Yeah.
Are you going to have
Splice it
Are you
in.
going to have at York Video Pro as a link that you can click on it?
York Video Pro, we slot it in.
We slot it in. There we go. Now there it is. Right. So we've established bounties, in fact, are not the worst celebrations, which I'm still mad at. and that Pizza Hut
is better than Domino's.
is better than Domino's. Now we've got a new format
Yes.
of the podcast,
Yes,
haven't we, Sam?
we have. So we decided, instead of picking the debate beforehand, what we're going to do is each of me, Simon, and Mickey, when he's here. Unfortunately, he can't join us today.
He's somewhere here,
He's
there, somewhere.
okay.
Keep going.
We're
going.
each going to pick 5 different topics that we could debate. And we're putting them all into a hat. So at the moment, we've got a nice app that Josh is going to. Is it like a wheel spin, or is it just random generator?
Family Fortunes wheel.
Yeah, it's like a wheel
It's like
spinner,
a
but it,
Family Fortunes wheel.
Generator.
Family Fortunes wheel.
Oh.
Color coded as
If
well.
only you could put that graphic up in the.
if only I could.
Can you?
You theoretically could. Yeah.
He's smiling. He's got that kind of weird "I'm turned on" smile. That means
That grin whilst
this
he's
is-
filming.
This is so going in
Yeah.
there.
Oh no.
Yoke Video Pro.
Your video pro.
Oh god.
Anyway, I digress.
Slot it in.
we find a way to slot it in. Come rain or shine.
I'll just come.
Just come rain or shine. Come. Comma. Rain or shine.
I don't know why that just reminded me of the Whose Line Is It Anyway? Have you ever watched that?
Yeah.
When it was things you can say to your dog but not your girlfriend, and the guy just came and went, "Come."
It was good. That was a good
Anyway,
TV show.
I digress again. So me, Simon, and
Wait,
Mickey.
whose line is it anyway on Mock the Week?
Whose Line?
You know,
But the producer Dan Patterson of Whose Line also produces Mock the Week.
and have I got news for you?
Does he?
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course it does.
He does a load of them.
Yeah.
He's basically the biggest comedy producer in Britain. So
Shout out to Dan Patterson.
if anyone wanted to be a comedy actor, or a stand-up comedian, you need to fucking get in front of that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, in front of him or
In front. Just keep it there. We don't want to do a Harvey Weinstein, do we? Anyway, let's move on quickly.
maybe below him.
maybe fast forward over this bit, guys.
Everyone's favourite Uncle Harvey.
Oh, fucking hell, kid. Right. So what's going on with the
But I
podcast?
digress. So me, Simon, and Mickey are each going to pick 5 topics. Me and Simon have picked our 5. Mickey will have his 5 that he'll throw into the hat, or the metaphorical hat, or potentially physical hat.
We could get a
which
top hat
We're
with it.
going to get a hat.
Let's get a top hat. There's a hat company just around the corner.
There is.
But for now, we're
they're
just throwing it into the wheel.
expensive.
Yeah, the Wheel of Doom.
What are we doing now, Josh? We're just throwing it in.
Just chuck it in, mate.
Just
Get it
slotting
right in there.
Yoke Video Pro.
go all
Just
over
slot
it.
it in.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
And
How many plugs have you fucking had in this video? It's been 5 minutes and you've had like 6 plugs. If someone doesn't give you a contract, I'm going to be so fucking mad.
It's okay. I think my company's ruined now. Anyway.
Well, if it's a porn company, they're going to...
All right.
Yeah. So if you run a local porn company in Yorkshire, which is slightly depressing if I'm honest...
A up 3. Get that bounty out the knickers.
Oh no! Oh, by the way, you just
Starring
reminded me.
Luke.
You just reminded me. So we actually had interaction with Pizza Hut.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. By the way, Domino's on Instagram, you're doing terrible with your social media. Not happy.
yeah,
Pizza
Domino's.
Hut. Pizza Hut,
Just
however,
another reason why Pizza Hut are better.
Improve that
Pizza
digital.
Hut, they liked it. That was it. They liked
What,
it. That was it.
on Twitter or
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a picture of anything. It was just literally just like a behind the scenes shots, and they were like, "Oh yeah, I liked it." So thank you, Pizza Hut,
Cheers,
for the
Pizza
like.
Hut.
Like you. So to digress back to
digress
what the
again.
fuck we're doing.
Me, Mickey, and Simon are picking 5 topics to throw into a hat. Topics that we can debate. And on each podcast, we will draw it out to see which one we will be debating on that there then podcast.
Which makes it very difficult because
Yes, because then we don't have time to prepare. It means if we're very, very unprepared and maybe not as good at debating, it's going to either be hilariously funny or really uncomfortably bad to listen to.
which could be funny for you
Which,
people
yeah, it could be
who
funny
like
if you
awkward
like that
stuff.
sort of cringe humour. And then what happens is whoever's topic gets drawn out, they will then replenish it for the next week.
Yeah.
Did I explain that well enough?
I feel like so.
Good.
Yes.
Yes. You're by the way, on all the debates that you've done so far,
Yeah.
you're 2-0. You've won 2 debates. He's won the bounties one, and he's won Pizza Hut.
Oh, fair. I mean, we don't really have winners on the debates. If I'm honest.
I'm a winner.
I mean, this is what was said since you started debating.
I know, but we retract that now. I'm a winner.
Yeah, to be honest, we're fairly competitive.
Wait, so we've done 3, so who's yet to get off the mark?
Me and Mickey.
Yeah, terrible people.
Oh, of course, the other one we didn't really
Yeah.
put a poll for that one.
No, that was a good idea.
Yeah.
That was a good,
Yeah.
that was a good idea. The podcast has gone through quite a few changes, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Because we used to do basically a mass variety of stuff, and it was so fucking crammed full of it that we couldn't really get down to it. So now we basically are exclusively a comedy podcast, where we try and make people laugh by debating the most meaningful topics of whether a bounty is actually the worst thing in a celebrations tin or not.
Very true. Very
which
true.
apparently, it's not.
It's not.
Snickers.
It's, well, for you. Anywho,
Twix.
anything...
Speaking of Twix, have you seen Burger King are doing a Twix cake?
No.
Yeah.
They're doing a Twix cake?
Yeah.
What, does one factory make the left-hand side and the other factory makes the right-hand side?
I'm sure it was a
Hey,
cake. Anyway.
You're welcome.
I will find it
I'm here all
for
week.
you.
Try the fish.
A cake.
Can you find the picture?
I'm finding it.
Oh, thank you. All right,
What?
mate. Fucking hell.
Is that another Yacht Video Pro plug? I'm finding it.
Oh, what's the hand? The hand motion's the worst bit. What, also, why would you go like that? Surely you're going to go bowling ball grip. Surely you're going bowling ball grip. For anyone who doesn't know that, I'm not putting my hand in frame for you to be able to see what grip.
It might have been in frame, you don't know.
It wasn't. I know it's not.
I think mine was.
I wish we could throw stuff on the screen, because a lot of people maybe can't see it, but we actually have a screen in this room. However, it doesn't work with a laptop.
Sorry, it's a Twix pie.
That's a Twix pie. Oh,
Twix
that looks
pie.
nice. Look at that filth. Oh, looks nice.
Is it just a Twix pie because it's got broken up Twix on the top? Because literally none of that resembles a Twix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not really keeping in. I mean, you can
Fuck
have a
you, Burger King.
you can have a
if
massive
it doesn't
slab.
taste like a Twix.
I mean,
I'll have
I like Burger King. I don't know.
I
what
like
I'm saying.
Burger King,
Yeah, Burger King's really
we're
nice.
not debating Burger King. 'cause
No,
we've done
we're
two.
not.
We basically
We've done two food ones.
two
so
food ones. We need a different one.
We're hoping a food one doesn't come up
Yes.
this week.
Yes, exactly. So, have you had anything that's been going on in your life, Sam? Any funny stories
Funny stories.
before we get into the actual podcast? I've got one.
Go on.
So last night I was out for drinks with my work friends. Very nice. This isn't the funny bit. Then I received a text from my girlfriend who was at home, which was just a picture, just an image, and I was like, just an image. Yeah, I wonder what this could be. Maybe she wants me to come home early. You know what it actually was? Well, it was this.
Oh.
So for people who can't see this, obviously,
Right, okay.
and
Put it to
people,
the camera.
I'm not going to put it in the camera, but people who are listening to the podcast, the fence in our garden was blown in. And that's not a euphemism. Basically, some of the fence panel literally had snapped clean off of the rest of the fence and fell into the garden. You know what my automatic reaction was? I hope the rabbits are okay. My poor, because I have
To be fair,
I have
yeah.
rabbits, yeah, and
You can fix a fence. You can't fix a
you can't fix
crushed
rabbits,
rabbit.
yeah. And I'm not
Well,
having
you
that.
could fix it into a
I
stew,
know-
but
well, yeah, but that would be mostly filled. That would be mostly filled with my tears. Because I love those rabbits. They're
True,
very cute.
yeah.
If anyone wants a good pet, get some rabbits. Go get 2. You can't have 1 or 3. Have 2.
I suppose I can understand why the fence, did collapse. It was blowing really hard last night, wasn't it,
Storm Emma.
Josh?
York Video Pro. Blows really hard.
Blows.
Wait, no. That's kind of... York Video Pro. It blows.
Oh wait, it's getting worse.
No, definitely not.
We blow.
Blows really hard.
We blow together.
How long can we milk this?
So yeah, fence panel caved in, and then I text my my landlord to say, thought I'd let you know. His reaction was fuck! Exclamation mark. But then he went, well, I'm not coming out today. And I was like, that's fair enough. And he said, I'm not coming out until next week. And I was like, again, fair enough. So then what I've had to do is I've had to
Prop it up.
push it up against the fence and pin it with the bin. I did that last night. This morning, it had managed to fly, even though it'd been pinned up against a fence already, so there's no wind getting really at it. It managed to push the bin out because of the wind and managed to fly over to the other side and pinned itself up against the fence. I have no fucking clue how it managed to do that.
Maybe it's sentient.
Maybe it's just trying to return to its natural fence brothers or sisters and non-binary individuals.
Or a woodland area.
For a woodland area, yeah. But yeah, it's interesting. Also, could see into my neighbour's garden. They do not fucking look after their garden. Bastards. There's me looking after
If
the
the
garden.
rabbits got out, they would have had a field day, though, in the long grass.
Field day. Long grass.
Oh,
That was a
God,
good
that
joke.
was terrible. I did not even mean to do
Yeah,
that.
that was a good joke, actually.
What have I become?
Yeah, I kind of ruined it by saying it's a good joke. But yeah, that's what happened to me last night.
The only really funny... It's not even funny for me, though. It's because...
Is it funny for everyone else?
It'll be funny for some people.
Okay.
Because I had my... the Skyman come to fit Sky in my new flat on Saturday just gone.
For anyone who isn't in Britain, Sky is basically like cable.
Yeah.
For Americans and Canadians and Australians
So
and
I
New
was like...
Zealanders.
I was really excited because I was like, it's time for Gillette Soccer Saturday. Watch all the scores
Again,
as they come in.
for anyone who doesn't know what Gillette Soccer Saturday is, soccer is
It's
that thing
football.
that is football, but not American football, British football, which is called soccer in your country for some reason,
In one country.
in like one country.
Yeah.
I know loads of people call it football.
Yeah. No, I mean,
So
it's
loads of
called
people call it
soccer
soccer in like Canada, America,
Okay, two.
Australia, New Zealand.
New Zealand don't call it soccer.
Yeah, they do.
Do they?
Yeah, they don't call it
Bastards.
football. Yeah,
Another
they
reason
call
I'm
it,
not
call
going
it
there.
soccer.
Soccer. Soccer, mate.
So you got your Sky,
yeah,
yeah?
Skyman came round. I was keeping up with the scores on my phone until he did get there.
My phone. Yeah.
Newcastle went 2-0 up. We scored 2 goals
Against?
in one game against Bournemouth.
Oh.
2 goals, not only just in one game, in the first half.
Oh Lord.
We were 2-0 up at half time.
Oh yes.
And then it was going through the second half. It was about 10-15 minutes to go towards the end of the game. The Skyman just got it all set up and everything. I turned it on. I sat down. There comes Chris Kamara. There's been another goal down at Vitality Stadium where Bournemouth play because we were playing away.
Yeah.
2-1. Shit.
It begins.
Yep.
Did they get the second goal?
They did.
So they drew.
Yeah.
Wow. Well done, AFC Bournemouth. Well done. Good work. Newcastle, step your shit up. There you go. Have I summed up football for you?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, there we go. Football.
That was hilarious.
Ooh.
So
You know what? We don't have to plug the fucking things.
Come on. So's your company.
Oh. It's getting a bit.
Okay.
It's getting a bit personal tonight. Fucking hell. I think we've all had long days at work.
Yeah, we bloody have.
We've all had long days at work. I had ridiculous people to speak to in some fashion of conversation, which I won't go into any more detail.
And so did I.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was an interesting day. But
People are the worst.
yeah, people. Unfortunately, we have to
People.
talk to them. Shall we do the actual debates?
Yes.
And then we'll actually figure out what we're debating. This is going to be quite hard off the cuff.
I'm excited to see what's gonna prop up on the wheel of
Wheel o' Doom.
Wheel of Doom.
wheel of
Wheel o' Doom.
The-
You got to miss the F off. Apostrophe. Wheel o' Doom.
Wheel o' Doom.
Wheel o' Doom.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, because it's copyrighted. We
Because
can't.
trademark.
We can't say. Yeah, we can't say.
Fortune.
4 ton.
Fortune.
Yeah.
What if we said it in 3 different sentences? Wheel of Fortune.
That's the way they actually hyped Wheel of Fortune. They go Wheel of Fortune, and then they'd show the wheel come out, and then they'd spin it, and people would win like quad bikes, even though they couldn't drive them.
Yep. Imagine the person who went on there and went away with a kettle.
You got a washing machine, Steve, and the person who actually won got a holiday because you were thick, because you didn't know the answer to what is the capital of France. You piece of shit.
Fuck's sake, Steve.
Fuck's sake, Steve.
Fucking Steve.
Bet his wife left him after that.
But she did.
The love had gone. She was clamouring for the holiday to Paris. Anyways, Josh, what have we got?
At least he could sell the washing machine for heroin.
1 second.
He was from Middlesbrough, right?
So,
Sorry, Middlesbrough. I'm going to apologise for that. Fucking hell.
spin, bet, Wheel.
I mean, they can't see or
trying
hear
to
this
do-
wheel.
You're trying to do the home makeover. Move that bus. Is it home makeover?
I have no idea. You mean the American one where they knock someone's house down and build it again in
Yeah.
less than an hour?
Yeah.
It's so insane watching that. Less than an hour. I know obviously it takes longer than an hour, but it's in the format of an hour show. And they fucking demolish the whole house because obviously in America people don't like to renovate houses. They just
Yeah,
go, fuck it,
let's start from
level
scratch,
it.
Yeah.
They bring in the US Army, shell it. Then what they do is they just concrete it and then they just build a wooden house on top and then that's it. Oh yeah, it's lovely.
And then they have a hurricane and it blows away.
And then they have a tornado because it's always in the Midwest.
Yeah.
Have we got anything yet, mate?
Yep. So today's debate is Star Wars.
Oh no! No, it's not this one. Not,
Versus
not
Star
the first
Trek.
one. Oh my god! It's
Okay,
not
is
the.
it-
No,
Ugh.
that's the first. That was the like. So when that went in, we were like,
Trying
"Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be good because that we could do that later on."
Yeah.
But it's the first one. Oh,
first one.
Fucking god! Right. Do we get a pick, or well, who has to debate what?
Do we have a pound coin?
Oh no, yeah, but
I'm glad I didn't. It would have been pretty awkward if
But
if I'd have got
I-
Star Trek and I was wearing my Star Wars T-shirt, which I nearly put on this
Ooh,
morning.
man.
I have a 10p.
Oh, is that it?
Yeah.
That's not British, is it?
What,
Normally
a 10p,
change on me.
a 10
'Cause it's a-
pence coin
Yeah,
of the pound or pence sterling.
Pence sterling. Just flip the coin, mate.
that
So
British
I'm-
currency
who's
is
going
not
for it?
British.
So are we doing it for you?
Yeah, it's for me because Sam did the debate.
So
debate
head
last-
Star Wars, tail Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
God.
Oh, fucking hell, I'm so scared. Can you just tell me what I got?
Heads.
So I'm what? Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Oh, I kind of wanted Star Trek.
That's what.
I do kind of want Star Trek, but I kind of have to do it. This is the thing. Like you want mine, and I want yours. So technically, if we both make our argument shit, then what? We're just gonna tie. This is so hard. How the fuck are we gonna win? Well, I think I might have already won it, to be honest, because Star Wars is an exceptionally popular
Hey,
TV
I mean-
and film franchise.
I'll allow it if you want to swap.
No, I'm having it. Nah.
We could flip for a swap.
No, we're not flipping for a swap. Fuck off.
Heads we swap, tails we don't.
Then we have to flip for which hand Josh uses to flip with. And then we have to keep doing it infinitely until we figure out that it will never work. Oh Christ! This is a heavy one.
This is a
With
heavy
no-
one.
no
This is a
warm-up.
real heavy one.
I haven't got anything ready to go. Neither do you. You got to argue Star Trek, son. That's hard. That is hard.
No, I've got to argue for Star Trek against Star
Against
Wars.
Star Wars. This is hard. Josh, you're a savage. Fucking hell. That spin
Oh.
must have been like a. Did you slowly spin it? Just so it crept around, because that's what they used to do on Wheel of Fortune. Cunts.
Yeah.
They wouldn't blast it like they were told to. They'd be like,
Yeah.
there we go.
I'm so weak.
Trying to do, like in curling, where they just try to just let it glide. That's what they're trying to do, bastards. Right. Shall I do my art statement because you did yours first last time?
Go for it.
Star Wars, a franchise
You've
that
already
has.
started it wrong.
I'm not going to do the da 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 da.
Come on,
I'm not
man.
no, because it doesn't. There's no need. There's no need. I'm not going to do the entire intro. One, because we might have infringed copyright by doing it. Although it could be on my own interpretation. However,
Yeah, that would
then
be if
would
you
be fine.
actually did. If you
But-
got it out and played it into the mic, then yeah.
But Star Wars is a franchise that has defined generations of humanity. It has led to some of the greatest heroes of our time, some of the greatest tragedies of our time, and of the generations before us and after. For example, spoiler alert, when Han Solo gets this lightsaber through his chest by his son, Kylo Ren. Heavy going. I mean, I cried in that bit in the film.
Can I just add something?
Yeah.
You know what bit made me cry?
What?
When you find out that Anakin doesn't like sand. Sam, do the impression.
I don't like sand. It's rough, it's cold, it's irritating. And it can't everywhere.
Admittedly, that was a low point for Star Wars. I will say that was a low point.
Well, no, that wasn't the low point.
I mean, the low point was him. the actor of Hayden Christensen in that film.
You're so confused,
Oh wait, yes, thank you very much for reminding me. Jar Jar Binks. You know, there's a joke going around that he's actually the Sith Lord behind all of it.
is the Sith Lord of the Bombad.
In the Rogue One novelization,
Yes, novelization. Boom.
boom, first time, they explain what happens to Jar Jar Binks.
Please tell me he gets hit by like a cruise missile.
No, so he ends up as like a street performer, and then he just ends up dying.
Oh wow, that's really anticlimactic. I wanted something a bit. I don't know. That's quite good for him. Do you know why? Sucks. Really sucks.
Yeah.
He's just a street performer and then just dies, and rather than getting like cut in half or dying like a martyr, he just died like a fucking chump. Anyway, back on to Star Wars and why it is the superior out of the Star kind of franchises. It is, as I said, it's a generation-defining franchise invented by a man who arguably could have been said to be the greatest director of modern generation, Mr. Lucas, who I sometimes call Matt Lucas by accident. And that's only because of the...
You like your bald-headed brethren.
I like my bald-headed brethren. But George Lucas...
That wasn't an insult.
With his-
I know he's got alopecia.
wow. Does he?
Yeah, Matt
Oh, shit.
Lucas.
I
Yeah,
didn't
he's
know
got
Matt
alopecia.
Lucas had that.
Yeah, yeah.
Fucking hell. Anyway. With the beautiful Jesus beard that he has, especially when he was filming it originally, and his flowing locks, his hippie hairstyles, his decision to go with an absolutely mad idea and try to build it himself and then turned it into a defining piece for that generation of, what was it? It was released in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yep.
77, which is when you really think about Star Wars, everyone loves it. Everyone wants to watch it. It's always on in some fashion at a bank holiday or just normal holidays. It's just part of our lives. And that's my opening statement. Sam, give us some Star Trek.
Star Trek.
The Final Frontier.
There's not only that, Simon. There is Next Generation. Oh, which one? The OG?
Or original.
Oh, the original, obviously, yeah. There is the
You got-
original.
Deep
There's
Space Nine,
Enterprise,
Yeah.
Deep Space Nine.
Voyager.
What's the new one that's on?
Voyager, and
Discovery.
just
Discovery,
Yeah.
that's
On
it.
Netflix.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you've got a Netflix account, go watch Star Trek Discovery. I would recommend it.
I still haven't actually watched that yet.
You need to watch that, seriously.
Apparently it's good.
It's good.
Apparently
That's
Rainn Wilson's in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dwight from The
Yeah,
Office.
yeah, he is,
Apparently
yeah.
he's really good in it.
Anyway, sorry.
Yes. So not only have you got all of those series of TV shows, Star Trek has produced a grand...
there's also the animated series.
Is
There you
there?
go.
What
Yeah,
animated
yeah,
series
yeah.
of Star Trek is there?
It was back in the 70s as a continuation of the original.
Oh, I don't remember that.
Is that the one where they've done
Yeah.
the video spliced to him singing Common People?
I've no idea, mate.
Maybe.
If you
I've
haven't,
not
yeah,
seen it.
search
Star Trek.
William
Common People.
Shatner, Common People.
Oh, okay. I think I know what you're talking about.
It
Yeah.
lasted one season and wasn't very well received at the time.
What are you on about? Star Trek is awesome. It's better than Star Wars.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got all of these, TV shows. Even at their worst, they were still at least watchable, if not for the fact that they were purely hilarious to watch. And then you've got the, vast amount of films that it's produced as well. I think it's produced more films than Star Wars, hasn't it? Star Trek? 13 films, which, yeah.
You
is-
know a lot about Star Trek, Josh.
I'm not a massive fan of the series, but I've seen all the films.
Yeah, I think I've
Yeah.
seen most of them.
Yeah.
Not all, though.
I like the films.
I don't think they're all right.
Good.
Yeah.
Especially, I think it's episode 6 where they're on planet Earth and it's about dolphins.
Oh, it's about the blue whales.
The blue whales. That's
Yes,
the
I
one.
remember that one. Sorry. Keep going, Sam.
I have seen that.
Complete segue there.
No, I've seen the one with. I've seen the 2 new ones that they did with Chris Pine. They did the third. I haven't watched that yet.
Don't want.
Yeah, I've been told not to because
Instance.
they beat the enemy with the Beastie Boys, literally. I've seen the one with what's it called?
Gonna need to give us some help
is it
here.
the Borg?
Yeah.
Where Patrick Stewart
Oh,
turns
yeah.
into a robot
Generations.
guy. Is that Generations?
Next
there
Star
we
Trek,
go.
Next Generation.
Yeah. And leading on to my next
The
point,
film's called Generations.
Is it called Generations?
There's a film called Generations. Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Sorry.
And there's also
They do a lot with the Borg, don't they?
Contact.
I know it was in the TV series. He gets turned into a Borg.
It's not like I have a laptop
But-
right in front of me.
yeah, exactly.
It's not like you could have the power of the internet.
And, let's face it, we're talking about another program and set of films that have really, really connected to a mass audience over the years and are still going. And you have such dedicated fans to Star Trek that they actually learn the Klingon language, and now you can apparently major in it. You can get a degree in a made-up language from Star Trek. So, again, it has massively connected audiences. It's still going and is still, at very worst, watchable.
I like how you got it. At very worst, it's all right. It's all right. It's not terrible, you know.
Which you can't say about a lot of things nowadays.
I mean, this is
Unlike
going about
Star
as well
Wars,
as Mickey's Domino's debate.
Come on,
You know,
I'm doing better
He's
than that.
doing a lot. He is doing a lot better.
I'm putting effort in.
He's doing a lot
I'm not
better.
going, it's all right.
It's all right.
It's all right. Well.
Anyway,
it's good.
But yeah.
right.
But what I
Round it
will
off.
say to you,
Oh God,
is
you have to criticise your love.
I do have to criticise my love. I'm so sorry, baby. You made the point about George Lucas can be considered one of the best directors of all time.
Is he a director and a producer? Sorry.
He was the writer producer of all of them.
Yeah.
Not writer in the latest one, so not in Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. He only produced on them, or was third party producer or something like that. So he was basically in the background
I know he has been
for
sidelined.
name.
I think he was brought on as like a consultant.
A consultant to
something
the
like
thing that he
yeah.
fucking invented.
I think it's
Anyway.
like executive producer
Anyway.
or something
Sort
like
of
that.
in the
so
way that
Anyway.
Christopher Nolan
executively produced
helped
Man of Steel
yeah.
and just Batman vs Superman.
Batman v Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you said about that. Here's an interesting fact for you.
Go on.
George Lucas directed A New Hope. George Lucas directed Phantom Menace. George Lucas directed Attack of the Clones. And George Lucas directed Revenge of the Sith. He did not direct The Empire Strikes Back. And he did not direct Return of the Jedi.
Oh no, he didn't, did he? Wasn't there a guy in? Sorry, wasn't
It was
a bit of trivia?
Irvin Kershner, who directed The Empire Strikes Back.
Wasn't there a big fallout between them?
No, it was thingy Marquand. I can't remember his first name. Is it Richard Marquand?
It was one of the producers, was it not?
Richard Marquand directed
Can you just have a quick search?
Return
of
of the Jedi. I'm pretty sure it's Richard.
Can we just find out about the because I remember there was a story around about like one of the guys. There was a big
Richard
fallout.
Marquand.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was,
Was it-
Richard
there's a big
Marquand
fallout
who
between
who
him-
fell out with George Lucas. I think so.
You mean
Or
Matt-
maybe not a massive fallout, but they...
You mean Matt Lucas? Imagine if Matt Lucas did Star Wars. that'd be so trippy. Anyway,
So it's not going down the George Lucas route there.
well, admittedly, Star Wars is. I mean, when that first came out, that was like no one else had.
You dirty bastard.
Simon farted.
I was just like, are we... Is it some... Yeah.
You
'Cause
started
there's-
looking round and I
You guys
nodded.
can't see it. There's vents down here, and it's blowing nice, cool air. And I thought, wait a minute. Why is it...
Why does it suddenly smell?
Yeah.
That was me. That was me, ladies and gentlemen. That was me. I farted. I'm very sorry I did that live on a podcast. Apologies.
I though.
Not really. I don't
Sorry
give a
for
fuck. They can't smell it. Star Wars. Even the starting music to Star Wars is possibly the greatest start in music ever.
Space. The final frontier.
Well, you did Star Trek. And they don't always say that. That's the thing. A lot of people don't know that. They don't always say it. And admittedly, in Star Wars films, they haven't all had the intro music, have they?
Yeah, Rogue One. They fucked that up, didn't they?
Star Wars story. Yeah. I really enjoyed.
No.
I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
The film's decent. It's one of them where the more I watch it, the more I start to really pick holes in it and get really annoyed with it. But I remember first watching it in the cinema. As soon as that came up, I just went, "Fucking cunts."
Yeah, but I heard they weren't going to do the
I didn't. I tried to stay away from
real in advance, so I was sort of like,
motherfuckers.
I don't know.
I mean, Darth Vader was kind of amazing.
Yeah, they resurrected Darth Vader from his sandy grave. Took you both a while.
It was anyway. This
Love can't save you, Padme. Only my new pals can do that.
what the fuck? Jesus Christ, Sam. You're really stopping me from trying to. Can we stop quoting shit right now? Because there's a lot of fucking Star Trek I can quote. Because I remember I watched Next Generation religiously when I was a kid.
Yeah, let me bring out a Star Trek quote. Look, over there. It is the Klingon. Shatner.
Yes, I know who Shat. Thank you. Thank you very much.
No, that's his acting ability. I mean, he's awesome as Kirk.
Have you heard his music though? Spoken word.
No, it's not. It
Yes,
isn't
it
spoken
is.
word.
Yes,
How long are the songs? About 40 minutes.
He's done covers of like Bohemian Rhapsody.
That must be what
Terrible.
Common People is then.
Yeah, I think it is.
Well, it could be.
Oh my god. Star Wars. Fucking let me get it out. Jesus sake.
I'm doing well in distracting him.
Go on then, get it out.
At York Video Pro. So, Star Wars. I'm going to talk about the first three films because we'll move on to the next three films and then the final three films and all of the spin-off shit, including the TV series, which are animated TV
By
series.
first three films, are you meaning episodes 1 to 3 or the
We're
original 3?
In the chronological order that they were released.
Oh,
that they were
that
released.
they released. Okay.
So the chronological order that they were released in, as should be consumed. One of our friends, ladies and gentlemen, just as an aside, one of our friends, he gets his girlfriends to watch them in the chronological order, as in Episode 1, Phantom Menace, beginning with that, and then going forwards.
No.
No. The correct
That is
order.
disgusting.
Here is the correct order.
Oh, here we go.
4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, 1, 2, 3, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So you
Although
watch
9's
it.
not out yet.
So you watch it twice, just to.
Why the fuck would you not want to watch
Just to
that
brush
original,
up. Just to
original
brush
trilogy
up.
twice? And then you watch the original trilogy at the end anyway,
Just to brush
just
up.
for kicks.
Yeah.
So I made my girlfriend watch it in order of release.
Good.
We got to Phantom Menace, and she got to the scene where you first meet Jar Jar, and went, "This is shit. Turn it off."
Is that when you found out you really loved her?
Yep.
And you made passionate love at your Video Pro. Is that your first filming? 'Cause you got I know you got a lot of cameras, mate. There must have been a point where you were like, "Should I crack the camera up, baby?" You don't have to say it. Don't have to say anything.
I played R2 Dick 2.
That's fairly good. R2 Dick 2. Oh,
You're going
anyway.
to project it at their wedding. As she's walking down the aisle. To a,
You're going to look her dad in the eyes. Shake his hand.
Jazzed up version of the Star Wars theme tune.
That would be that one.
I'm feeling a lot of pressure to propose to my girlfriend now.
If you want to.
But
It's only if you want to.
I did make her agree that walking out of a wedding, we're walking out to Throne Room. You know what plays at the end of A New Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you hum it for us? Just make sure everyone knows.
Can't think of it right now.
It's hard, yeah. It's not.
Because her family's in a brass band.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
they're in a marching band type thing, aren't
They
they?
can play.
That's a
stuff
Do you
like
know
that.
it'd be a
Great
great wedding song?
What?
Reigns of Castamere.
Can you hum it for me? Because I don't know it.
Which one?
Oh my god.
You need to hum it seriously, mate. I can't just tell it off of the name of the song. I'm terrible at that. I can just hum shit, but I don't know it. Come on, hum it.
It's the... You've both seen Game of Thrones, right?
Oh, no.
Yes.
Red Wedding.
Yeah. I don't remember the music
First
from
two
it though.
seconds.
Sorry.
No,
mate.
it doesn't matter.
Can you hum it?
But you know what happens at the Red Wedding?
People die. Spoilers.
That was the joke.
I mean, it's Game of Thrones.
Oh.
Do you think sorry, to be honest, mate, do you really think people are going to get that?
I think a lot of people will get
I
that, yeah.
think very few people would get that.
Yeah.
Unless
Game of Thrones,
somebody
no.
like
That was-
peeled your arm up
actually,
and you had
that-
chainmail on.
Another little segue here. That is a great story that I did one time. My ex-girlfriend, absolute horrible cunt, fucking worst person I've ever met in my entire life. If she is listening to this, you know who you are. Anyway,
Fucking hell, mate. All right. Jesus
she
Christ.
was having a. This is going to make me come out in a really bad light, but it's not.
Especially when you're arguing for Star Trek and we haven't been talking about this debate for the past fucking 5 minutes.
But,
And the
yeah.
people at home have stopped listening, you piece of shit.
She was going into surgery to have her appendix moved, have an appendectomy.
Yes.
Don't think she actually had it done. I think they removed it as a precaution because she kept saying she was in pain because she was that good at bullshitting. But anyway, she was just about to go into surgery and she was just like, wait.
Don't laugh at your joke before you say it.
She was a
man.
bit worried, let's put it that way. So
Okay.
I just said, everything's going to be all right. And just remember, the Lannisters send her regards. They wheeled her in.
The Lannisters send their regards. That's so savage when he stabbed her in the fucking... Sorry, he stabbed him in the chest. That was so savage.
Spoilers.
Oh, fuck it. If they haven't seen it by now,
I haven't.
come on. You haven't seen Game of
I've
Thrones?
seen the first 2 series.
And you didn't get any further?
No.
To be honest, the first 2 seasons... the first one's good. Second one...
Yeah.
Third one... fourth... Yes. Fifth... Come on. Yes, and then
So
sixth.
every time I speak to Luke, he never shuts up about it. One of these
Yeah.
days, he's going to make me watch it. I just know it.
Just watch it, mate. Just watch it. Anyway.
Game of Thrones is like, a little dip in one of the seasons and then,
That was terrible.
York
That's-
Video Pro.
So, Star Wars. Why is it so fucking amazing, ladies and gentlemen? Let's get onto this fucking shit. By far and away, it was such a different kind of film when it first came out. There was nothing out there on the market, really. I mean, you had like kind of horror kind of films, horror sci-fi films. Because I think Alien come out then, or not? Am I just fucking up then?
Alien was...
Was that the 80s?
I think Alien was 79.
Can we check that? Sorry, but I think you'd had horror sci-fi
79,
films.
yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, so I think you'd
My
had
favourite
horror
film of all
sci-fi
time.
films.
I think-
I should know.
Cool.
I think it was like 2001 Space Odyssey. That was 60s, but that was like the pinnacle of...
But you had like the sci-fi films that came out weren't really of this sort of standard, this quality, of that in that kind of concept as well. Of that sort of, it's an entirely different sort of galaxy, nothing related to planet Earth. It wasn't about like people from Earth exploring and shit. Just a completely different kind of existence, basically. It could be in terms of its own universe, so to speak. Obviously, it's just a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. You right? Okay. Phone off. Come on. And just the concept of the entire storyline when it first came out and when it started. I mean, you were jumped straight into the action of the Millennium Falcon. No, sorry. What was that thing called? The Princess Leia's ship. What was it called? Can you remember? I don't know what the name is. I don't know why I went Millennium Falcon.
It's something cruiser. I can't remember.
Light cruiser. Let's call it that. Fuck it. Imperial cruiser. No,
No,
it
Imperial's the
Yeah.
Empire.
It starts off straight away with her being chased. So you've got damsel in distress straight away.
Tantive 4.
Tantive 4.
Tantive 4.
Alright, okay.
Tantive 4. Interesting. And instantly being chased by... So you got damsel in distress being chased by the main bad guy, and you basically get to see the main bad guy almost straight away. So you instantly know who the bad guy is, who the good guy woman is. And it's a great actress in Carrie Fisher, who didn't know whether to be British or American in that
Yeah.
film, but we're going to
Yeah.
gloss over that. We're just going to gloss straight over that because because it's an alien culture, they might have different voices. That's my way of papering over the cracks. But then you had the guy who played Ben Kenobi, who later we all know as Obi-Wan Kenobi. The actor's name is escaped. Alec Guinness, who had cut his teeth on doing some of the greatest World War II films of all time. Bridge Over the River Kwai, for example, he was in. So you had a really great actor who had signed up to join that project, and it was a very sort of like bootstraps project. It wasn't like a multi-million pound or a multi-million dollar production. It was a very low budget production where they found innovative ways of getting round certain problems, like the Sandspeeder one, for example, that most people know, is that they fitted just basically a mirror skirt round it so that they could just drive and it looked like it was levitating, rather than trying to fucking CGI the shit out of it and fuck somebody's moustache up. I'm looking at you, Justice League. They used innovative stuff. They used a lot of good camera work as well. I mean, there was a lot of work and effort that went into it. It was a passion as well for these people who created the entire franchise. And you had
a lot of the background sets as well were actually paintings.
They're paintings. So somebody had to hand paint that shit.
Yep. And like
that's cool.
The ships were figurines.
They were figurines. Wow. It's amazing. It's amazing how much they managed to do with so little and create possibly one of the greatest stories.
And how it still stands the test of time today.
You can watch it now. So, like, you can show a kid now.
I mean, you're killing your whole debate here right now.
Doesn't stand the test of time, does it?
Yeah.
And
I mean, come on.
The AT-ATs in Empire Strikes Back were all stop motion animation.
It's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane how amazing good work they did. That's just a new hope.
What about when you all thought that C-3PO had 2 golden legs, but he didn't? One of them was silver. God, thanks, Blu-ray.
Thanks, mate. Good work.
Okay,
cool. Is that that was your nitpick there?
Didn't know that.
Yeah, C-3PO has 1 silver leg.
I didn't know that.
And in episode 7 where he has that red arm.
Yeah, why does he have the
friggin'
red
reason.
arm?
I'm here to sell toys.
They made a prequel comic where they explained how he lost his red arm, but I've not read it, so
I don't care. It's like you know in the prequels where basically he gets his head transplanted with a droid.
Yeah.
And then for some reason then he's now on a murdering spree. His body is anyway, sorry. And you're just like, what the fuck? Like, and also, when the fuck could R2-D2 fly? Right? That I will say, those things are that's the prequel stuff, and the prequel stuff was like the problem child. You can't. You just mumbled R2 Dick 2 again. You're gonna get that tattooed on your ass, aren't you? You get R2 Dick 2 when you go to prison. Yeah, that's gonna be what's shining out for everyone to see.
Just get R2.
No, not on your stomach.
Have you seen Zack and Miri make a porno?
No, I've not. Why?
Because in that they watch one, and there's R2-D2, and he's just got his balls like hanging out of the bottom of the costume.
The small person who's inside of it.
Yeah.
His balls are hanging out of. Yep. No, they're not.
Have you seen the clip on YouTube where it's I think it is Careless Whisper, and it's just the clip of Empire Strikes Back where he puts his thing into the Cloud City computer.
Man, I also loved how some of the main characters were non-living entities, like droids, like C-3PO, the friendship of C-3PO and R2-D2, which still lives on strong to this day.
Do you want to know a good thing about Star Trek, though?
Go on.
It had one of the first ever interracial kisses on screen of all time.
Did it?
So it was very, very progressive with Star Trek, which is something that is very important in the world today.
Who kissed who? Sorry.
It was it Uhura?
Yeah,
and
Uhura.
It was Shatner, wasn't it?
Uhura and Kirk. They kissed.
Was it not Kirk?
Huh?
On the first.
Can you Google it for me, please? I'm pretty sure. I'm sure.
It was Kirk, yeah.
Can you just Google interracial kiss Star Trek and make sure you don't click on any of the porn links, please? Because I know there's Star Trek porn.
There's porn for everything.
If I'm honest, if you're a bit bored on a Friday afternoon, it ain't too bad.
Misa, gonna give you the disa.
Admittedly, those prequels had all of the prequels had all the problems, didn't they?
But the prequels have all the memes.
They do have all the memes. You're right.
Hello there.
They do have.
How has somebody not done a General Grievous meme yet with, instead of him flailing 4 lightsabers around, just flailing 4 colourful dildos about? Attack Kenobi!
He was a baller. But the one thing I don't like about
Grievous is fucking awesome.
Star Wars, to kind of give you some there, is the amount of backstory that's in it. Obviously, they've only got the films really and the kind of animated series.
They had all the canon, but Disney came in and just went, fuck
the
you.
amount of
Yeah, they had
backstory
the
is
expanded
insane.
universe.
But it's like they've got so much to tap.
All those video games and everything.
Well, did you see about they were going to do a Star Wars one called like Star Wars Floor 1331? It was a
Star
game
Wars
that they were going to do.
1313. It would have been so good.
It was going to be like you played a bounty hunter that somehow had force powers, which I didn't understand.
No, you played as a young Boba Fett before he became Boba Fett.
Was that going to be this? Oh my
And
god!
it was set in the lower levels of Coruscant.
Oh, nice.
Wow. But who vetoed that?
It was when
Was it Lucas?
it was
Films
when
that,
Disney bought
Oh, so they just canned
the
everything.
franchise. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they've
there
given a
was-
fucking trilogy to Rian Johnson.
There
Off
was
the
also
back of the mess that is The Last Jedi.
I really enjoyed The Last Jedi.
I enjoyed it, but
I
there
really
is a
enjoyed it.
lot of problems with it. Here's another bad thing about Star Wars.
Go on.
Rose.
Oh, you
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
the most recent film?
The
If you
most
haven't
recent
gone-
film,
wait,
The Last Jedi.
Spoiler alert, if you haven't gone and watched it, you need to go watch it now, pause the video, and then come back.
they could have taken the whole Finn and Rose storyline out.
They could have taken that whole storyline
I
out.
Didn't enjoy that if I was honest.
It was
expected
stupid.
nothing.
That whole thing,
It
the
felt-
visuals in their stupid little fucking retarded horse race through the fucking stupid planet of casinos.
It felt like a prequel.
It felt like a Harry Potter film.
Yeah,
That
good point.
literally, you could have taken that whole bit out and put it in a Harry Potter film, and you'd have been like, "Oh right, I didn't even notice." But like, yeah, her character was so pointless and so badly written. You know, the funny thing is, it's just like there was there was a thing that I was reading today actually about it, and it was like if she hadn't have tasered Finn would have got off the ship, gone away. Rey and that would have been safe. Luke wouldn't have had to project himself, and therefore Luke would have survived. Rose killed Luke Skywalker.
Fucking
God damn
hell.
it, Rose.
God damn
So-
it, Rose.
Speaking of Star Wars games,
Yeah.
there was one that was going to be produced by the director of the Uncharted games, Amy Hennig, she's called.
Yeah.
That also got cancelled.
What was it called? Do you know the game?
Didn't have a title, I don't think.
Oh,
an
'cause
official
Uncharted
title.
games they've
But-
got a massive cult following.
Yeah, they do.
It-
on PlayStation, sorry.
It basically was like Uncharted set in the Star Wars universe, which would have been fucking amazing.
The storylines in there are really good.
Yeah.
So the writers could have easily done it.
Did you find out about the interracial kiss?
Yes. So it
This is where
was
porn flashes up.
Shatner and Uhura.
Wow. When you look at them now, you would not want them to kiss. Anyway,
You kind of just like Shatner, just go live out quietly the rest of your days.
Did you watch that film where there was a handover between Kirk and Picard? So
No.
it was the last film that which one was it? Which one was it? Sorry, that film. Was it it wasn't Generations, was it?
I didn't actually know there was a handover.
Yeah, literally what
But it
happened
was just like, here's Picard now.
So it just Next Generation, obviously, just the main sort of original Star Trek series just finished, and all the films had finished, and then Next Generation just started, and there wasn't really any explanation as to what happened before. But then they went and did a film. I think it was the first film they did, where Picard is combating some guy who's trying to
Generations.
his generations. Thank you. Who's basically trying to he's trying to create a rift in space-time to be able to travel to a dimension which is basically a paradise dimension. And to do that, he has to destroy this universe, or the universe that Star Trek is in. And basically, there's a point where Picard, the bad guy, and go into the dimension shortly, for a short period of time. But Kirk is in there, and Kirk got trapped in there the first time it happened, when the bad guy first got into the dimension and figured what it was and was in there, and then eventually got kicked out. And then basically what happened was Kirk and Picard realised that they're in this sort of delightful universe, and then they work out that they need to help each other. So then they fight the evil guy. Then Kirk is killed. Spoiler alert. Kirk is killed in the action of trying to stop the bad guy. Then eventually Picard kicks the bad guy's ass, and then Picard rescues the entire situation and stops the universe being destroyed. So yeah,
See, Picard was awesome.
Picard was fucking gangster. I fucking love Jean-Luc Picard, and I was so sad that they didn't do like a film where like they signed off with him, so then they would have handed it over to the next lot. But then they went back in time and were like, "Oh, well, it's a space-time rift, all to do with the Romulans." And I was like, "No, what you need to do is you needed to have Picard in that film, and Picard and like what's his name, the guy who plays Kirk, the young Kirk." Well,
Chris
now
Pine.
Chris Pine. I was going to say Chris Vine. Then different person. What they should have done was they should have had a handover where Picard like tried to punch him in the face or something, or they tried to have a fight. It would have been It would have been so much better. They needed to just tie it in and just hand them back over.
Let's also say as well,
But if Next Generation takes place after the originals and the Chris Pine films are meant to take place at the time of the originals, that doesn't really work.
I don't care.
Space Time Rift.
Although then again, the first new Star Trek film was about space-time rifts, yeah.
If
They
I'm
had
honest,
Leonard Nimoy in it.
All they
Yeah.
had to do was go to the Doctor Who school of writing.
space time.
Take that, Doctor Who.
Wow.
Also shit.
You're not a fan of Doctor Who?
No, I can't stand
I'll tell you who
Doctor
my favourite Doctor Who was.
Who. Don't care. It's Doctor Who.
It was the
Wank.
first of the new one. Christopher
Eccleston.
Eccleston. And do you know the reason why? His range of acting is fucking insane. You watch all the series, he goes from being like really nice, happy, to being a fucking dark son of a bitch in one of them, where he's like, I think he's trying to...
Because he turned into a dark elf and then go fight Thor.
Apparently, yes.
Because that's what he did.
Admittedly,
He's
And
friggin'
it was
terrible in that.
fucking terrible.
it's not his fault. I think he was just given a shit
The whole
script.
film was terrible.
I mean-
Dark World's shite.
His
Yeah.
screen time in that was about 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
They built him up so much and he was just like...
I can't blame him, yeah.
Anyway, so
But here's another thing.
go to Star Trek.
Here's
do your
another
Star
thing
Trek
on the side of
counter.
Star Trek. I was saying before, the prequels did get all the memes, but Star Trek has two of the most popular memes of all time.
Go on.
The Captain Picard faceplant.
Yeah,
Which we've used in the thumbnail.
we have used
We
that in
have,
a thumbnail.
and the Captain Picard.
What the fuck?
Yeah,
Yeah. I will say there are memes from the Star Wars franchise
there
that
are.
will
Yeah.
basically across the entirety of it. There's Well Hello There by
Which-
Obi-Wan Kenobi,
We've used in one of our videos.
which we have used.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Hello there.
Come here, little one.
You've also got
video pro.
the Sidious... oh, wait, hang on. No. No, because the worst bit was I was about to do the one where it's the do it. And I was going to do the same joke, and now it's like, oh.
Truly wonderful of the mind of a child is.
You're a terrible human being, you know that. You're a terrible, terrible human being. I feel like we're just degenerating on this argument, if I'm honest. I think we killed Josh. You all right, mate? You're caught.
Maybe we don't try and debate really big topics on a Friday night after work.
Oh Lord, it's because the thing with Star Wars versus Star Trek is, and I will say this, is Star Wars is a pop culture film. We can all say that, part of pop culture. I would argue that Star Trek is like what's the term? Sorry, like it's like kind of Pulp Fiction. Like that, it's got like its own
cult.
It's like a cult following.
Cult
sorry,
following.
thank you. It's got its own like it's got its own niche.
No.
I don't think it penetrates the entire of pop culture.
I would disagree with that. I think they both could be considered a massive, massive part of pop culture. That's why there has been the argument ever since, they both got their popularity that it's Star Wars or Star Trek. The fans have been butting heads for ages. It's like, apparently it's impossible to be a fan of both.
I do. Well,
It's like the whole, what's better, PC, Xbox, or PS, PlayStation. It's just like, apparently you can't have all three like I do.
PC Gaming Master Race.
Don't say Master Race. I fucking hate that term.
yeah,
I'm not Hitler.
yeah, exactly, man. Come on, we're not Pol Pot either, or Stalin, or any dictator really.
That's another debate.
Yeah.
Who was the best dictator?
Who's the best? Who's the best dictator? Your Video Pro.
Definitely got to be Kim Jong Il. I mean, he convinced people that he killed a dragon. Was it him or was it Un?
I think it was his dad called Kim Jong's son.
Kim Jong's son.
I think
Il Un son. Kim Jong's son.
Son is the grandfather and is the supreme leader still of North Korea, even though he's dead. And the only people who can be who can take up the mantle as supreme leader are his male relatives.
Supreme leader. Kim Jong Un is Snoke.
Dun 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 dun. Man, you'd have to lose a lot of weight for the film.
confirmed.
Theory from fucking hell. Yes. So
Should we just start a Star Wars YouTube channel? It's like Dash Rendar, you know. Star Wars
No,
Explained.
Josh, I want to start a Star Trek YouTube channel.
that would be quite
I
fun.
actually broke my voice saying that.
Couldn't bring yourself to say it. The reason why, so Star Wars, pop culture, Star Trek, I say, is like cult following, like a bit like the Italian Job. But then it became so big in its cult following, and everybody watched it at the fucking bank holidays, that eventually it's become part of pop culture. So I feel like Star Trek isn't there, but it could be in the future. And I tried to do it with the reboot, with the new people, to do the original again, even though I didn't agree with that whatsoever. But like my example is the Star Trek Discovery TV show hasn't really done that well. I mean, it's only on Netflix. It's not really been like, it's not penetrated really far into like.
No, it's been aired in the US.
Has it been aired on the TV channels though? I thought it was only on Netflix. Sorry,
No,
I thought it was a
it's been
Netflix
aired
exclusive.
by CBS.
CBS doing it.
Yeah, it's a joint production between.
I
the
didn't
two
know
companies.
that. I did not know that. However, I would say it still isn't that popular. I mean, do you remember when it used to be on BBC Two?
I don't think numbers were very bad for it.
Well, obviously not, because I think they're going to make some more series out of it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting time period that they've picked. It's basically the Klingon Wars.
The problem with Discovery is how much of it, you know, the backlash or the distaste it's given people, how much of it is genuine, proper criticism, and how much of it is just, it's not what we know. It's, you know, die-hard fans not going for it because it's new, like you get with a lot of the new Star Wars stuff.
Yeah, Star Wars does get a lot of heat from it. And the Star Wars TV series, like the animated series, they have, like Star Wars Rebels, for example, they have gone down a rabbit hole when it comes to that stuff, and I don't know whether they can bring themselves back out of it.
Yeah, because they got really popular. That Rebels was huge.
Rebels.
Disney
doing quite well
XD
for
have
itself, yeah.
real. I mean, that's a big show for Disney
Clone
XD.
Wars was great as well.
Clone Wars.
I really enjoyed Clone Wars.
I mean, there's a
I've never seen them, to be honest.
they left out a lot of. This is the problem with the films, is that they do skim quite. They just jump, and they try to make it so like you can kind of get it, but it's like the Clone Wars, the film was, and then you jumped, and then you went to Revenge of the Sith. Sorry, yeah, it's Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
And you jumped, and you missed basically all of the stuff to do with the
Actual Clone Wars.
The Clone
and then
Wars,
they went
which
back and did
is
the
a
Clone
super
Wars.
is a super important time period, which
Yeah.
fucking Luke Skywalker references in all. I think it's all of the three films that the original trilogy.
Yeah.
He mentions the Clone Wars, like my father fought in the Clone Wars. He mentions it so many fucking times. He's like, I'm going to be like a Jedi like my father before me, when he was fighting in the fucking Clone Wars, and made himself into a fucking hero of the Clone Wars, where he eventually defeated Count Dooku. Cut his head off. Do it, son. Do it. York Video Pro.
Make love to the hole.
But I'm just saying, I think Star Wars definitely is a pop culture. I would argue that Star Trek is like cult following, basically.
Cult come.
Cult. It needs a next level, and I don't know what the next
Maybe
level
a
is.
next generation.
If they did a new one, if they did a new Next Generation, they'd have to be very selective with the actors they picked, because those actors who were in it were immense. Surprisingly, admittedly, they didn't do much else apart from Jean-Luc Picard, but Jean-Luc Picard was a Shakespearean actor. I mean, that's what and then he's gone on to do like the X-Men franchise.
Thing is,
I can't help
Jean-Luc
it.
Picard.
Do you know why? Because I grew up with him just as Jean-Luc Picard, so I have to refer to him as Jean-Luc Picard. Also, he's a badass, isn't that?
thing is with Star Trek is there's not been one episode or film that I've gone and thought, that was a bit shit. But with Star Wars, you have the prequels, Holiday Special,
Holiday Special?
The Ewoks.
Star Wars Holiday Special, and the Ewoks, yeah. And, you know...
Technically, what about, like... So some people are
and
really
the
mad
first
at
third of The
Rogue
Last
One.
Jedi. I enjoyed Rogue One.
And The Last Jedi people were a little bit mad at. But I think those are diehard fans making a lot of noise, in my opinion.
To me, Luke's character was terrible in The Last Jedi.
He's a broken character.
I liked Luke's character in The Last
I
Jedi.
thought he was
I thought
alright.
he did really well. I thought they did really well with him. They could have done better, but
I thought he was going to go full baller, but he didn't.
yeah, that was a shame.
You know when they did
I
when
don't
they
want
had
to see him milking cows.
That was one bit.
That was. Did you see
Do
the
you know
meme?
the worst part about Luke's character in Rogue One is how they sort of when
Rogue One. You mean?
not Rogue One, sorry,
Last
The
Jedi.
Last Jedi. There was a couple of things. It was how it all ended up being a misunderstanding as to why he was about to kill Kylo. It's like, have it one way or the other. He goes to kill him, or he doesn't, and figure something out.
because you could have made him.
He could have literally just had Snoke corrupted him that much. Kylo just snapped one day without anything of Luke's doing.
Yeah.
Also, the same bit, Luke refused to kill Darth Vader, refused to fight him in the end, despite the fact of all the horrible, deeply fucked up things Vader has done as Anakin and Vader. Yet he decides to maybe try and kill Kylo Ren, a boy, for something he might do in the future.
Yeah, that was an unusual part of the storyline.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Last Jedi just completely reeked of just not thinking things through and no proofreading.
Yeah, there's a lot of and there was a lot of pandering to certain stuff. Like
Yeah,
the Rose,
certain
the Rose
agendas.
Finn, the Rose Finn storyline is a lot of pandering towards certain stuff to be able to try and sell more tickets. Basically, that was the whole point, really, in my opinion. Sell more DVDs and be like, oh, it's a new love story. When in actuality, you're like, well, hang on, we've just completely papered over the cracks of the strong, independent female character of Rey becoming a full bore Jedi. We're just going to fucking paper over all those cracks. We're also going to paper over the cracks that the guy who plays Kylo Ren, which is, what's his name, Adam Driver,
yeah.
who's got a fucking great chest.
He's beefy motherfucker,
he is
isn't
a
he?
beefy motherfucker, I would say. Also, have you seen that meme where it's Luke milking his chest? That's a fucking hilarious meme. I love that shit.
I think I've got it on my phone.
I love that shit. But also, they're also papering over the fact that you had one of the best lightsaber fight scenes of all time
in the throne room.
in the throne room. I would say that
was quality.
That's on
Absolutely
par.
quality.
And this is the thing. This is where I'm going to go with it. The only good bit about Phantom Menace was the lightsaber duel. Because the use of the music, the use of the timing of the engine room thing that they were in with the shields, the fact that you had Liam Neeson executed in front of the apprentice of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then you had him cut him in half, which apparently he wasn't allowed to do. Apparently that was a technique he shouldn't use.
I have to add
Star Wars buff.
Yep.
that in Last Jedi, it wasn't a lightsaber fight.
Oh right, they were fighting with their blades
Because
things.
there was never two lightsabers for
It wasn't blade on blade action. York Video Pro.
bit of blade.
I will. Right. Okay. It's the best. This is just the best fight scene, but I would argue it is a lightsaber scene because they had the little torches, the little lightsaber thingies on the blades to help them cut through. So
I mean, I did love the Luke v Kylo part.
Oh yeah, that was great.
Yes.
I loved that bit because that's where I thought he'd gone full baller. Where I was like, he's gonna wreck people, especially when he got pounded and everyone was like, and then you just saw him be like, I was like, he's gone full, like he's unleashed a level of like force powers but I do like the idea of the broken man, of Luke being the broken man after all of the shit he had to go through. So basically he saw all of his friends during the war, the war with the Empire, saw a lot of his friends killed. Obviously not main characters because that would ruin the storyline. He saw a lot of his friends killed. Then he then tries to take new sort of like to restart the Jedi thing. That obviously goes tits up, big time. So he fails basically his entire mission of trying to restart the Jedi thing, which is basically his entire life now, especially after his dad's dead and he's the only Jedi, the only Force user basically that he knows of in existence in the entire universe, and he fails because his
I'm just going to interject there. He's not the only. He knows he won't be the only Force user, Force sensitive person.
But he knows he's the only
one who knows how to use it.
He's all by himself. That's the thing. That's the bit I'm saying. He's all by himself. He has no backup.
Well, actually, no. He teaches Leia.
Yeah, that's
part of it.
When that happened, I thought I thought if they'd killed Carrie Fisher off, obviously they kind of did in real life, but anyway.
They killed her off.
Yeah, they obviously they didn't want her in the last film. Fuck it, too much. They had to pay her too much. That's why they killed Han Solo. No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. I'm having a laugh.
I mean, Harrison Ford doesn't like that.
He hates
character.
it. I don't know.
Han Solo.
I never understood why he hated it, but he loved Indiana Jones.
Han Solo's better for a character.
I do like Indiana Jones though.
Yeah.
But that's a topic for another debate. Okay, we'll have to do Han Solo versus
Best
Indiana
Han Solo
Jones.
Best Han Solo. Best Harrison Ford character.
Han Solo.
I'd like to say my favourite one is the one of 40 days and 39 nights or whatever, 40 days, 40 nights, where he's stranded on a desert island
with like David Schwimmer's in it as well,
with Cameron Diaz or someone like that.
It's not Cameron Diaz, but I know which one you mean.
Some
yeah,
woman.
because David Schwimmer's in it.
Yeah. Some arbitrary actress.
One of his best performances is as Dr. Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Great
I
film,
didn't
The
kill
Fugitive.
my wife.
I don't care!
That's him in...
That's my Tommy Lee Jones impression there for you.
The Fugitive. I fucking love that.
Fugitive, great film. But we digress.
So...
As we do a lot.
It's a podcast is designed for segueing. So Segway, you want to sponsor us, we're more than willing to have your segues on the podcast. Star Wars, for me, is exceptionally special. And I think that you can tell that it's exceptionally special for people because they criticize it so heavily when it's not perfect. Like the original trilogy, basically,
that's a good argument.
Are basically perfect. They're basically perfect. There's some holes in it, but the quality of it, the script writing, the acting, all special effects, a lot of it is just absolutely fantastic and will stand the test of time, as you said earlier, Sam. But when it just if it doesn't quite hit the mark, people who love it will just go, it's shit. There's no in the middle stuff. There's no it's all right. There's no bits where you go, they're all right. Like the prequels, no one goes, they were all right. Everyone goes, they were shit. And then all the ones that have moved on. The only one that's kind of done okay is The Force Awakens. I'd say that one was it was pretty much on the mark with, mostly because it kind of copied quite a lot of A New Hope. But anyway, there was a lot of the people who love Star Wars, the diehard fans, and just the casual fans can agree on stuff. Whilst I feel like with Star Trek, the casual fans and the diehard ones, there is a difference in their opinions about the actual franchise, where the diehard ones will just love Star Trek and it doesn't matter because it's Star Trek. But with Star Wars, everyone has that special sort of first time they saw it, or first time they saw Jar Jar Binks and went, for fuck's sake. Or the first time they saw the beautiful, beautiful beard of Ewan McGregor. He had a powerful beard.
An exceptional beard, it's true.
I mean the beard that changed length depending on which scene he's in.
Yeah. The one that... I mean, he had a good beard on that, I would say.
Yeah.
And also, you had like some of the best bad guys ever in Star Wars. I would say the best bad guys ever in Star Wars would go to Star Wars. You had Darth Vader, obviously, the first bad guy that we saw was so different compared to any other bad guy. He literally was just the no-faced individual with the greatest voice of all time, which was. The voice actor was...
James Earl Jones.
Thank you, James Earl Jones. He's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah? He's not dead yet?
He did the voice in Rogue One.
Do you know that David Prowse is an English actor who actually played Darth Vader?
Yeah, he was
in the suit.
He's in the suit. He didn't know that his lines were being dubbed over.
Oh, wasn't he Welsh or something?
But if you actually watch...
you can watch it with his voice, and it's it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I feel a bit sorry for him.
So not intimidating.
Yeah, I
James Earl Jones.
wouldn't have been, because James Earl Jones is a powerful voice actor. But just you're introduced to the amazing bad guy who's terrifying, and also like the random ability of just being able to choke someone across the room. and then him talking about like, and then him running into Obi-Wan Kenobi, obviously in the first film of A New Hope, and then that starting off the rivalry between son and father of Anakin and Luke Skywalker. Obviously they didn't know that, but it starts that kind of, and it's almost, and the interesting bit is apparently it follows a similar storyline in there's a Japanese story that was made into a film that follows a similar storyline, and it's a fantastic storyline around about how eventually it was to do with
Is it Seven Samurai?
no, that's to do, I think that's Magnificent Seven, his Seven Samurai, I think.
Yeah.
Which was the one? Which was the Japanese film? Can't remember its name.
It's a very. I wish I had it to hand, but there's a film basically where the young boy is trained by an really old man to become a samurai, because the young boy's family, they're not actually his family, like his foster family, are killed by samurai who ride through their village, and one of the head samurai is the Darth Vader character, is actually his dad. He sired the child with the mum, and the mum died in childbirth and shit. But then eventually the Shogun, who's the main guy, eventually it comes out that it's the Shogun who's causing all of the problems in making them ride round and basically murder and pillage. And eventually then the son...
The Shogun was Palpatine.
Yeah, exactly. Was the Emperor, basically.
I mean, it sounds like Seven Samurai, because...
Is that in Seven Samurai, sorry?
Because that was a big...
driving bit.
I can't think of a word. Big inspiration for the story.
I thought it was
Star
for
Wars.
I genuinely thought it was for Magnificent Seven as well.
And then it was adapted to Magnificent Seven, yeah.
Okay. Well, if that's part of it, then I will stand corrected. It's just, you took some of the greatest stories of our time, like humanity, basically, and then spat them into the sci-fi world and created an entire universe that people can see almost every single day. I mean, for fuck's sake, Star Wars sponsors batteries that then go in the toys that you then will make stupid sounds like a little porg or a lightsaber or an R2D or an R2D2 or an R2-Dick2 apparently, for this guy. So that's what I'm saying. Like it, and this is the thing: Star Wars penetrates every single level of our culture. Every single level, it just slips in and just goes to town, does its stuff, and squirts its powerful brand all over our faces.
York Video Pro.
Hashtag York Video Pro.
I want to squirt my brand over people.
York Video Pro. Hashtag.
So that's my big statement, Sam. I've just unloaded my big statement all over you. How are you going to blast back your Star Trek?
Because basically you can unload all of that onto me, but no matter how much you blast my way, my red shirts will take it all.
Sam, let's be honest. Let's be honest, you're still going to gobble it up.
Star Trek, come on. Give me some Star Trek goodness.
That was...
I can interject.
Was that it? You got to have some backup behind it. Come on, kid.
If I can interject.
Go on.
If we're talking about, iconic villains, Star Trek has the Borg.
It has the Borg, the Klingon. Khan! And some other ones.
He wasn't a Klingon.
And technically, if we're going villains,
Khan wasn't
yes.
a Klingon.
No, he wasn't. But
Huh?
Khan wasn't a Klingon.
No, that I'm saying Khan.
Oh, sorry.
He's
Klingons, were they really bad guys? They kind of became good guys.
no, they were bad guys.
Some of the time they're bad guys.
But this is what I was just about to say about Vader. Can he be considered a full villain? Because all the way through the 3 films, there is good in him, and what does he do at the end?
Well,
he fulfills the prophecy of the Chosen One by throwing Emperor Palpatine down into the depths of the second Death Star and killing him, and thus bringing balance to the Force.
Also, an alternate timeline comic, which no.
Go on.
Which shows what would have happened if some events were changed, and they did one for Return of a Jedi, and it was if Vader lived. So you have Vader in a white suit.
No.
Yeah.
Is he? So he's good then.
So yeah.
So hang on. So the Republic doesn't go, "Oh, we're going to try you for war crimes because you killed millions of people."
Also, Leia turned to the dark side.
Yes, I'd love to see. Imagine Carrie Fisher just choke choking someone at distance. She's just fucking somebody up, and then she pulls like a purple lightsaber. I don't care what color it is. It's like some weird lightsaber.
You
Pulls
can't
it and
take
just
Samuel L. Jackson's lightsaber.
and pulls someone into it. I always thought like they can do the choke and they can pull someone. Like Kylo can do it. I just hold the lightsaber out and just go, there we go.
but not like a
slow, yeah, a slow one in the chest. So they can watch it cut into them. That's a dark thing for me to say on this, isn't it? Fucking hell. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I slipped to the dark side there.
I do love that thing where I think it was the How It Should Have Ended guys on YouTube who did the How Return of the Jedi Should Have Ended, and it's at the end when they're all enjoying the Ewok party and there's Yoda and Obi-Wan as the Force ghosts, and then Anakin shows up as a Force ghost and they're like, oh, this is so fun. And then all the Force Ghost younglings show up, and it's just like, you killed all of us.
That's
and
so
it's Yoda.
bad.
Awkward this is.
Well, they wouldn't be there because they don't. Because you can. I think it's a special ritual you have to do to be able to become a Force Ghost.
Yeah, it's training. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yes.
Liam Neeson's
He was the
character,
first one to discover it.
Qui-Gon Jinn, first discovered it.
Well, actually, no, he wasn't the first.
But he didn't do it
That's
properly.
a lie. He wasn't.
He didn't do it properly though, so you can only do it in Force-sensitive places. But then Ben Kenobi learned how to do it properly, and then was able. He can do it whenever he wants, and it depends on how powerful you are, how long you last as a Force ghost.
Which is funny to say that Obi-Wan's whole thing is that he wasn't actually naturally gifted with the Force.
Yeah,
His whole thing is that he had to just work and work and work.
he wasn't even that good of a lightsaber duelist either.
He
compared to
was the
others.
master of a certain form of lightsaber
I
duelist.
thought that was well, Mace Windu was as well.
Mace Windu is a master of one of them, which is apparently meant to be the most deadly, but Obi-Wan was the master of, I think it's called Sorsu or something like that.
Can
or
you just
that might
Google
be,
the lightsaber
that
styles,
might be
please?
Windu's, I can't remember, but yeah, even Windu turned around and said Obi-Wan is the master of this,
So
this form.
there's
And
Vapad. Vapad is Windu,
Yeah, right, yeah, so it is Sorsu.
or whatever it is actually is if you're
I'm
mispronouncing.
pretty sure it's Sorsu. But
It's a
yeah,
defensive
and
style,
it's
wasn't it?
It's basically defensive and waiting for the right opportunity. So he basically, that's why he was able to beat Anakin, because he could just deflect. Until
I will say I
he
wasn't a big fan of that lightsaber duel in Star Wars. Anakin versus
loved it.
Obi-Wan.
The only bit that was stupid is where they're flinging it around themselves and then just
I wasn't a big fan of it. I think there was way too much of them moving. Because I liked the Count Dooku duels because Christopher Lee was quite limited to where he could move. He couldn't like jump all over the place. But apparently all of the upper movements that he was doing was him because he trained to be a fencer. Like his family, I think, made him to be a fencer, and then he was like, I don't want to be a fencer. I want to be an actor. But yeah, he did all that stuff and like all of the dueling he does. But the argument that I don't like that duel is because they're jumping around way too much, and it's like not. And they've like the lava thing and everything like that. I didn't enjoy that. I like the they're on the same level, like the Darth Maul kind of duel, which was there's no force abilities. It literally was just lightsaber on lightsaber. I enjoyed that. Just to say, sorry.
So when we're back on Qui-Gon Jinn,
Yes.
if you look at his backstory, it's pretty damn dark. Like he had to kill one of his old Padawans because they turned to the dark side.
Yep.
And then he wanted to take Anakin as his Padawan.
Qui-Gon also turned to the dark side at one point.
Did he?
Well,
And
he was a grey Jedi.
Huh?
Well, people say he's a great
No, he
Jedi.
actually did turn to the dark side, and it was a projection of his old sort of love interest. Although love is it's not love that's forbidden, it's attachment that's forbidden. So they were in love with each other, and it was the projection of her telling him to stop that brought him back.
Wow.
Because wasn't it his Padawan that killed her or something?
I can't remember
Similar.
exactly, but something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And
It'd
then
be
he
interesting
didn't-
if they do a backstory to do with Qui-Gon Jinn.
And then he didn't want to take another Padawan
Yeah.
on, and then he sort of got lumped with Obi-Wan.
Yeah, he sort of got. They tried lumping him with Obi-Wan. Because he was like, I'm impressed by him, but I don't want him. I don't want to take another Padawan. And then it was actually on the mission where he had to kill his Padawan, where Obi-Wan was there, and that's when he eventually ended up taking Obi-Wan.
Isn't it strange how they like you have to go and kill someone? Like, they'd order people to kill. Like the Jedi would order each other to kill each other. If that makes sense. Like they'd order Jedi, even though Jedi are meant
Keepers
to
of
be
the peace.
Yeah, keepers of the peace, not assassins. While Sith, you could have like assassins that were Sith.
Yep.
It's weird. Like Darth Maul, for example. He's my favourite one. The double-ended lightsaber is so fucking gangster.
I'd still love.
I love how he
Kylo's.
fought-
the cross hilt. Beautiful.
I don't know. I think there's some interesting stuff. Have we found out what the different lightsaber styles are, please?
I think.
Just reading through the article,
I'm
thank you.
I'm just curious about what
I
the
think I've
different
kind of
ones are.
lost this debate.
We've
We've just done a massive discussion about Star Wars.
Yeah, I mean, we've probably covered, about 5 minutes for Star Trek and the rest of it's Star Wars?
Shall I? I'll give you a little reason as to have we got the lightsaber styles.
So,
Sorry.
So there's Shicho,
Yep.
which Luke Skywalker trains.
Oh, cool.
I'm not going into the detail
That's
of all
fine.
the different styles.
That's fine.
Makashi,
Yep. Makashi, yeah.
that Count Dooku
Yeah.
uses.
Baller.
Sorasu,
Oh, you were.
Obi-Wan's. Ataru, Yoda.
Yeah. Which, by the way, is most of the lightsaber styles because Yoda trained the most Jedi's in all time of all history.
Sheehan is Darth Bane.
Right.
Anakin Skywalker also uses it as well. Neiman.
Neiman.
Newman.
So apparently Kenobi and both Anakin dabble in it a little. So they use a range of different...
They use a variety of different styles
Styles.
rather than just one singular.
Juyo,
Yeah.
which Darth Maul and Mace Windu both use. And that was the one that was banned, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Mm.
it's designed to allow the hate of another person to flow through you, but not to corrupt you.
That's VPAD.
Oh, that is Vapad, sorry.
Yeah, VPAD.
I'll be honest, I do not want a Mace Windu film.
No, it would be terrible.
I
Unless
know-
he says motherfucker. If he says motherfucker in it, that's the whole film
unless
made.
it is a little kid, like, you know, an actual, like, let's say 10, 12-year-old Mace Windu, but they have edited Samuel L. Jackson's face onto the kid. And he's just running around doing his Mace Windu Samuel L. Jackson thing. I'm a Jedi, motherfucker!
Just 2 hours of motherfucker!
Just him screaming, motherfucker!
There was talk of them doing a noir, almost like
I'm in my wallet.
a noir crime thriller set in the underworld of Coruscant, which would have been amazing if they'd have got that right. But
I
think Disney passed that over as well.
That should have been a
there was-
Netflix thing. That should be a
Yeah,
Netflix thing.
There was the Star Wars TV show, Star Wars Underworld, that was planned. George Lucas wrote about 50 hours worth of scripts for it,
Fucking hell.
but the only reason they didn't do it was because
And then Disney went, "Oh, that's really nice. We'll put that on the fridge."
We don't think that's going to make us a lot of money. We can't sell lots of toys, so
Well-
you know.
well, they originally said that at the time of trying to make it, it would have cost about $50 million an episode.
What the
Fucking
fuck was he
hell.
going to do? What's he doing? All right, see the gold gun, yeah? I want you to fire it just into the sea. Fire the gold into the sea. What? You want us to shoot this? As in, like, record it? No, just shoot it in the fucking sea. I don't give a fuck. I'm George Lucas, motherfucker. 50 million!
50
Ba, ba,
million
ba, da.
per episode.
Yep. So, speaking of Golden Gun, Christopher Lee.
Yeah, Christopher
Yeah.
Lee. What a gangster he was. He had his own rock band.
At 90, he released a rock album, a metal album, sorry, at 92
insane.
or
He's a
something like
great
that.
character.
I mean, so did Bruce Willis and
He's a great
Mark
character. though.
Wahlberg, and they were terrible.
Yeah, but that's because that's them, not Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee's
Yeah, I
a
like
gangster.
Bruce Willis and Mark Wahlberg.
They
might not make good
their
music,
music's
but-
terrible.
Mark Wahlberg, forever in the
seen
shadow of his
Transformers?
brother Donnie when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
oh.
those two guys. They started out as kind of like pseudo rappers, and then they became great actors.
Yeah, this is what I was saying the other day because I was watching Band of Brothers, and obviously it's about it was the episode in the Ardennes, or the second episode in
Yep.
the Ardennes,
Yep,
where
yep.
it's from Lipton's point of view, played by Donnie Wahlberg. I was like, you wouldn't think that this guy was in
boys,
New Kids on the Block.
New Kids on the Block. Thank you. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird that.
Yeah.
It's so weird that some people. But it's like Ant and Dec. They had their own. They had music, and then
PJ and Duncan.
They did. There's so much stuff that they used to like. Some people have just changed over time.
Rhyme in time to the rhythm
It's
of
like,
the track. I'm Ant and I'm Declan, a duo, a twosome. So many lyrics, we're frightened to use them. So many lyrics, we've got them in stores. They even got them coming out of our paws.
Wow, you missed out on that singing career, didn't you? Fucking hell. Star Trek, mate. You need to come at me with some Star Trek shit. Because I am stomping you into the fucking ground right now with Star Wars.
I'll be honest, I think we know which argument's won.
Yeah.
See, I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and what I will say, the really good thing about Star Trek is that they stay honest to the TV show. Very, like, when it comes to the TV show, they are absolutely peerless at making it because they make it so brilliantly.
Another thing I will say as well, in relation to the films that came out later on, so the reboots almost. It wasn't technically a reboot for Star Wars, it was a continuation, but they were prequels. But the Star Trek directed the first and second one done by J.J. Abrams.
Yeah.
Especially the first one. It was expected to flop, just massively flop, and it wasn't. It was a good film. It was a well put together film.
Into Darkness is by far and away one of the best Star Wars films of all time.
It's the same with that. That was also expected to flop massively. Whereas
Star Trek, sorry.
Star
Did I say
Trek.
Star Wars?
Yeah,
I've got a Freudian slip about what I like.
Whereas on the opposite side with the prequels, I'm one of those people, like you said earlier, I actually don't mind the prequels. I think they get a bad rap, but they were expected to be the best thing ever.
A lot of expectations.
And they fell very, very short.
They let people down
for a lot of people. So that's one thing I will put in Star Trek's favour.
They're very consistent with what they do, and the storytelling is absolutely fantastic. And they have such a variety of different ways of telling stories to people, and they have such and it's never focused on one particular person. It's always a crew. It's always all the main actors and actresses that are involved in it come from different walks of life. They're completely different people, different backgrounds, and their storylines are often exceptionally different to each other, yet it's all to do with the journey of discovery and trying to basically make the human race as good as possible, and it's always about trying to make things better and learn things and everything like that. But what I will say is, in the recent Star Trek stuff, is they've not gone back to the TV shows. They've literally just released the blockbuster films, try and make quite a lot of money out of it, and that's the bit I don't like about it. You haven't seen like Chris Vine and the guy who played Sylar. Chris Pine, fuck it. This is what I mean.
And Zachary Quinto.
Zachary Quinto, thank you. You haven't seen them do like a TV show. Like, you didn't see them do like, if they'd done a TV show.
Chris Pine's a bit too big for.
This is the bit. That's
weird. TV's gotten a lot bigger in recent years.
This is the problem I've got
all
with
the big actors are wanting to go into TV, but there are certain people where you're just like, you're not a TV actor. And Chris Pine is Prine. I didn't know what was worse there, the fact that I said Prine or the fact that my voice just completely died on me. Chris Pine. Pine.
Chris Pine.
I don't know. I mean, you got like Tom Hardy in Peaky Blinders.
But Tom Hardy started as a TV actor. Started in Band of Brothers and
yes, he did.
Star Trek.
Yeah, he did.
Next Generation.
He was
one of the villains.
He was.
Film.
Yeah.
Huh?
That was a film.
Next Generation.
Star Trek Nemesis.
Star Trek Nemesis.
He was a villain.
Oh, is it a film?
Yeah, it's a film.
Yep.
I totally enjoyed that film.
I thought it was a good film as well.
There.
It's interesting because they basically the Romulans cloned Picard in a mission to try and replace Picard with the clone. Then they bailed on it and then put the clone in the other planet near Romulan called Remus. And there's basically Remans, who are a different subset of the population, which they look more like lizard people, basically, rather than Romulans that look like Vulcans. And basically he's in a mine having to get dilithium crystals. He's having to mine that with his other brethren of the Reman sort of race. Eventually he leads a revolt, takes control of Romulus, a bloody revolt where he basically wipes out the entire command and control of them, takes control, and then meets Picard. But then he has like a kind of complex with him, because obviously he's like, that's me, but it's not me. It's like they almost see each other like a father and son relationship, and then it goes into like his character descends into madness quite quickly, and he wants to destroy the world, etc., with like a world destroying engine. It's a great film. I really did enjoy it.
You know why it didn't do very well? Because the director hated Star Trek.
Really?
He'd never seen an episode or anything before.
Hang on, how the fuck do you get a job like that? Like, how the fuck?
And he was just like, yeah, I don't really care for sci-fi.
Fucking hell. That's ridiculous.
Give it to me.
Give
That's
it to me.
honestly
Direct the shit out of it.
That's honestly the worst thing you could think of when you really get down to it.
And annoyingly, it wasn't a terrible film.
It wasn't, and I wish it had gotten more publicity, more like, because that was the last Jean-Claude Van Damme. What the fuck am I?
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, we can tell that we are fucking tired tonight.
That was the last one that
Jean-Luc Picard.
Patrick
did. Stewart.
Patrick Stewart.
I got you back, mate.
That's all right, thanks, mate. That was the last one he did, really, and then that was it. And there wasn't really a sign-off, and there wasn't really anything like that. They kind of just, they faded into nothingness, and now you've got, I mean, you had Star Trek Enterprise, it was all right. And it was interesting to go all the way back to the real beginning of Starfleet and how it began, and the interactions with the Vulcans was really interesting, and about how the Earth became like a big player in Starfleet, the Federation. Sorry, it was an interesting thing, but then that faded. That went away really quickly, and the actors from that have not done very much at all. It just seems like the problem you get with Star Trek is that there's not a lot of like consistency. You get a great set of TV series, like you get like 5, maybe you get 5, 6, maybe up to like maybe 9 or 10. But then once it's done, that's it. It's done, and then they have to throw it all away, and they have to bring it back in. Whilst with Star Wars, you can keep tapping into that font of
Skywalker's fucking up the galaxy with their family drama.
Well,
yeah, the Force, lightsabers. I mean, once you got all that, you've got that stuff you can continuously tap into.
All they needed... Can't even speak. You can tell how tired I am.
Yes, Josh.
All they need to do with Star Wars is tap into the expanded universe.
I think they are missing a trick. I think that with Star Wars, they need to go and do something new and innovative.
Except Chewbacca getting killed by a moon.
What? Chewbacca getting killed by a moon?
But as with every bit of canon for everything ever, there are some weird...
Yeah.
There's one where it's like Luke 2, where they clone Luke but make him slightly taller, and Luke 1 has to go fight Luke 2.
You know what his name is? Luke.
Yeah, Luke W.
Trouble you.
Okay, so
trouble?
Star Wars. I mean, the problem you've got is that there's story. I'd say the storytelling of Star Trek is more consistent, but it's just not as. It didn't make that when it first came on the scene. It didn't make that much of an impact, but then it became popular afterwards. Like the Italian Job. I'm always going to tie it back to the Italian Job, because the Italian Job didn't, when it came out, no one really liked it, and then it became a cult classic. That's the same for the original Star Trek thing. Like Blade Runner, like a lot of films.
Blade Runner? You mean the most overrated piece of shit ever?
I really enjoyed Blade Runner. I also really enjoyed Blade Runner 2049.
Haven't seen it yet.
We'll leave it there.
I will watch
awesome.
it.
We'll leave it there. But I was, so I genuinely think Star Trek is on that cult classic. They're trying to go into being big Hollywood. We're the biggest franchise ever. And they can't really do it because Star Wars has got that shit nailed the fuck down. And Disney now investing in it and basically making the content that they can create from Disney's studios. They can do everything from animated TV series, which they're probably going to do even more of now, because you've got the full strength of the Disney animation teams, and you can go all the way up to the big blockbuster budget. Every December or every other December, you're getting the biggest film of all time coming out.
Well,
that's what they do.
I know they're planning a live-action TV series as well.
I'd love that. Imagine that.
Can't wait.
I would love a really dark one, like a dark TV series.
I just want Knights of the Old Republic.
They'll never do it.
They don't
TV They'll never do it.
I've said this before. They don't want to do it, and the reason why they don't want to do it is because that is a super special part for some of the diehard fans.
Which is why, as a fleshed-out TV series, it could work.
You need 10 series to get through that.
One thing goes wrong in it.
Yeah.
Backlash they'll get. The best thing they can do for Knights of the Old Republic is re-release them remastered.
And do the game again, you mean?
And, make Knights of the Old Republic free, because the Old Republic was not fucking linked to them.
Yeah.
So, how long have we got? How long have we been recording for, Josh? Sorry.
An hour and 40.
Hour and 40. Should we?
Time flies when you're chatting Star Wars.
Yeah, mate. Yeah. Should we wrap this
and
up?
And a little bit of Star Trek.
Should we wrap this up? Should we do the funny news or should we leave it? What do you
We'll
think?
leave it for the next.
We'll leave it. We'll leave it for the next podcast.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be doing another Twitter poll and Facebook poll around about which is better. Please give your honest opinions of, is it Star Wars or is it Star Trek? You've obviously heard our opinions and our debates, topics.
I do enjoy Star Trek. I really do. Everything I've seen of Star Trek, I have actually really enjoyed. But I am going to have to go have a shower to wash off this dirt for having to argue against Star Wars.
Yeah, I will say I'm a big fan of Star Trek, and I actually watched it first before I watched Star Wars.
You know, they're both brilliant.
And
it's just
I'll always have a soft spot for Star Trek: The Next Generation. I always will. However, when it comes to just comparing the two universes against each other, it's got to be Star Wars every single time. That's it.
Yeah.
And I think if that influences your opinion, good, because we've done a good job debating, or at least I have, and I've got 1 point on the scoreboard, finally. And Sam hopefully won't win this.
No.
But we'll put this
You
up.
have to admit this is a loss.
Yeah.
It's
I admit this was a loss as soon as it got drawn.
Yeah,
as soon as we flipped that coin, I went,
if
no.
I'd got Star Trek though, I was gonna fight you fucking tooth and nail for that, by the way,
Yeah.
because I fucking love Star Trek.
I think I'd have still won, but
Also, completely not related, but I like your T-shirt.
thank you.
What's better
That's
than
Parks and Rec.
What's better than 100 candles in the wind?
5,000 candles in the wind.
Okay, Sam, do you want to wrap us up?
Right, it's been a pleasure debating in front of you all again. Stop looking at me like that. York Video Pro. Yes, our good friend Josh is on, has his own company. Tell us a little bit about it, Josh, because it's not like we haven't plugged it enough in this episode.
And we've not made enough porn jokes to make it.
I don't just do porn, but I am
He
a
does.
videographer based in York,
For porn.
willing to travel.
Willing to,
willing to travel for porn.
free and easy.
Apparently so. Yes. And, if you need any video production or photography, hit me up. York Video Pro on Twitter and Instagram. York Video Production on Facebook. And on my website at yorkvideopro.co.uk.
Which you can watch episodes of the Gentleman's Debate podcast on.
Exactly.
So if you want to try and get him to do some contract work and also want to laugh, make sure you go to Josh's website, York Video Pro.
And to demonstrate his terrific ability at filming porn, please join us for the Gentleman's Debate After Dark. No, that's a lie. That's total.
What do you mean?
Now there's a spin-off.
What do you
At the
mean?
Midnight Mint.
Hey, flashback.
Right, guys. I've been Sam. That's been Simon.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.
And that's Josh as well. You
Bye,
forgot
guys.
Josh.
I forgot Josh.
Don't forget
they can't
me.
see him.
Yeah,
Yeah, but-
you just wave. You can wave at us though, Josh.
I'm still here.
It's just
Yeah.
Wave.
But
Thank you.
thank you very much for this episode, ladies and gentlemen.
and we will see you next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.